I said before, the Zelda series has gone on for a long time. As such, it has an absolute cavalcade of characters to choose from for a top 10 list. While the main trio of Link, Ganon, and Zelda are perfectly fine, I feel that the supporting cast is where the series really shines. In every game, there's always a fun series of characters inhabiting the land. With how entertaining they are, really gives the motivation to stop the latest villain other than, that's what heroes do. As for how we're ranking them, well, just a matter of how well developed they are and how much they contribute to the story, and okay, it's mostly just how much I like them. When it comes to companion characters in the Zelda series, Midna is considered the gold standard. Thanks to her snarky personality and more relevance in the plot, she quickly became a fan favorite. Before her, we certainly had a few tries in the snarky companion department with no real failures. That in mind, I'd argue Eslo from the Minish Cap walked so she could run. Right off the bat, Eslo had a delightfully entertaining personality. Seeing this crotchety geezer contrast with Link's traditional youthful heroism is always a delight. In terms of gameplay, Eslo is also a huge step up. Rather than just give you advice and target enemies, he let you explore completely new worlds. As the eponymous Minish Cap, he has the ability to shrink you down. This added so many new dimensions to gameplay, like an entire dungeon able to be miniature. He's also a lot more involved in the story than his predecessors. Vati, the main villain of the game, was originally an apprentice of Eslo. He then stole Eslo's all-powerful wish-granting hat and turned him into his current form. So when you go up against Vati, it's not just to save Hyrule, it's personal. Honestly though, Eslo was kind of an idiot in hindsight. An all-powerful artifact that can literally grant any wish? You should have kept that locked up instead of leaving it out! And again, it's not like Vati was much smarter. Pretty sure he could have just wished to be omniscient and win right there. Hyper-optimistic characters can often boil down into two categories. They're either fun or lovable because of how proactive they are, or relatively annoying because of how forceful they can be. There's being a light in the darkness, and there's just being a reality-denying moron. But when you're in a somewhat bleak setting where civilization is sparse and there's not a lot of friendly faces to welcome you, this sort of character definitely falls into the former. Right off the bat, he looks awesome. Red, muscular, stands like 10 feet tall. Not even that old for Zora's standards, he already towers over every other Zora, save his father. As a character, yeah, he's got big Kamina energy with how positive and encouraging he can be. But as I said, not a bad thing. Remember, you don't meet too many friendly faces in Breath of the Wild, especially with the Zoras. The elderly especially are very scornful towards Link, blaming him for Mipha's death. Sidon and his father are really the only ones to stand up for Link, reminding everyone that Link being here and alive to save them is what Mipha died fighting for. Sidon even takes it a step further as he helps Link take on Varuta. It's great to see just how good and supportive a friend he is, especially knowing that out of anyone, Sidon would be the one who grieved for his sister's loss the most. Yet not once did he ever show weakness or hold disdain for Link. Mipha wanted him to be strong and courageous like Link, and he really took it to heart. You could tell how much meeting Mipha again, let alone saving her, means to him in Age of Calamity. Just look at this scene, you can feel the weight in his voice.
I know that we'll meet again, dear brother.
Yes, you're my beloved sister, and our hearts will never be apart.
Sidon may just be the optimistic bro character, but Shark All Might here nails his role thanks to being who he is at the right time and the right place. He's gone through so much to be the hero we know, and I bet we'll always look forward to seeing that winning smile. Also, Baby Sidon is the cutest thing to ever grace the series, and I will fight you all for that!
You know what time it is? It's time for the Groose to be loose!
Get your pompadours a-pumpin' and your rocks a-flying because the best Zelda character is here! Well, 8th best. But that's because people don't understand the majesty that is Groose. Let me paint a poem about him. Oh wait, no, this is going like my Oliver entry again. Even did the voice. Ugh, never again. Groose is one of the best examples of a comic relief character done well. At first, he starts out as the classic bully rival archetype. He's in your face, loves his hair, and goes gaga for the female student that could obviously care less about him. He tries to sabotage you and prevent you from winning the derby, Knight's exam. Afterward, he disappears. Well, until he literally, and I do mean literally, drops back into the story in the best way possible. After learning about your mission and the surface world, he joins you, kind of. He is depressed for a bit after realizing he's not the protagonist and can't save Zelda, but he gets out of it quickly to help you. While he doesn't make a massive impact on the story at large, he does play a great part in the imprisoned fights, making them slightly more enjoyable than they are. Seriously, people, just go to the next level and jump on the thing's back. Don't go for the toes. Didn't Phil teach you anything? Using his Groosinator, he can stun the imprisoned or use you as the ammo to launch onto the Hydra's back. Another impactful moment is at the end of the game where he guards the old woman and the Gate of Time from Girhim. Sure, he timidly does it, but he still holds his ground against a man who could easily kill him if he wants to. It's short, but it ends up being the peak of his character arc. You'd think that being very similar to guys like Biff Tannen or Titan would make him permanently a villain, but nope, let me a good organic trope subversion. Groose might be comic relief, but he still plays an important role as brevity for Link and a helpful aid in two of the most challenging fights in the game. And let's be fair, he's the most relatable character in this game, and technically the inventor of the catapult. Yeah, that's canon now. We know how much the Zelda franchise loves to play with parallel universes or alternate worlds. Arguably one of the most tragic of these worlds is the almost perfect parallel of Hyrule, Lorule.
Okay, they're not all gems, or rupees.
Lorule almost perfectly mirrored Hyrule, with its own sacred realm, its own Triforce, and its own Zelda, HILDA. I see someone in the writer's room was a Sabrina fan. We first meet HILDA after chasing the game's big bad, Yuga, after he kidnapped our friends to release the even bigger bad, Ganon. HILDA acts as our guide throughout our journey as we retrieve our friends and beat Yuga with the Triforce of Courage. Hey, wait a minute, if she's the Dark Zelda, isn't she supposed to be Uh-oh.
The whole world will know of your betrayal, Smitty Werben Jaegerman Jensen!
Yep, HILDA betrays you. Turns out she was scheming behind your back to take Hyrule's Triforce. And after stealing Zelda's, she sicks Yuga Ganon on you. But because what goes around comes around, HILDA finds herself betrayed by the creature she used to betray you. Either way, serves HILDA right, but I don't know, does it? Just look at the history of her world. Long ago, Lorule was plagued by a war between those who wished to harness the power of its Triforce. To end the conflict, HILDA's ancestors destroyed the Triforce, which ultimately resulted in the kingdom crumbling. So really, try to understand it from HILDA's point of view. Her land is dying, and she's desperate to save the people who look up to her. The only way to do that is with a Triforce, Hyrule's Triforce. Was HILDA wrong to manipulate us and nearly let Hyrule suffer the same fate as Lorule? Oh, heck yeah, not even a question. But she did it out of sheer desperation. She just wanted to help her people. We've said multiple times that even the noblest of intentions can be tainted by atrocities. And as soon as HILDA gets the wake-up call she desperately needed, she wastes no time trying to redeem her actions and sends us home. In return, we wish for Lorule to be saved. It's only fair, right? HILDA was never a malicious character, just a flawed individual trying to help her world, and undeniably one of the more complex antagonists in the franchise. So those entering the Zelda franchise for the first time may be asking the obvious. Why is the series named after Zelda and not Link? Well, for starters, Legend of Link doesn't have the same ring to it, and the creator was a fan of Zelda Fitzgerald. Also, in a way, Zelda is our biggest motivation as a hero, to serve her as a knight, to save her from Ganon, etc. Yeah, at the start of the series, she's basically a damsel in distress, but she's the driving force that pushes Link to get out of bed in the morning. Literally in some cases. That being said, I want to give a special shout out to two variations of the titular princess, Tetra and Breath of the Wild Zelda. Okay, so yeah, major spoilers for Wind Waker ahead, but yeah, Tetra is actually a descendant of Zelda, but with no knowledge of her ancestry, Tetra didn't become a princess. she became a pirate.
Do what you want, cause a pirate is free. You are a pirate.
And honestly, a pretty mean pirate. She doesn't trust Link at first, had to be guilted into helping him, and isn't above using him as a literal human cannonball. It's hilarious. Kinda like another proto-Midna, to be honest. But her heart isn't made of stone, and despite her knack for piracy, she isn't just gonna let people get axed if she can help it. And in the final fight, Tetra ain't sitting on the sidelines for this one, oh no! She's thrown down right alongside Link, in the iconic Zelda dress, no less. This was a huge moment in the series as a whole, seeing a Zelda fighting alongside her trusty knight. And no, that bit in Ocarina is I'm helping incarnate. Coupled with Tetra's fun, aggressive personality, she's, without a doubt, the best pirate I've ever heard of.
So it would seem.
As for Breath of the Wild Zelda, she's back to being a princess again. But this time she's not the one in danger. All of Hyrule is. Calamity Ganon has all but destroyed everything, and Zelda is the only one with the power to keep him at bay, and it won't last forever. The pressure from all these unreasonable expectations thrust onto her and her champion's failing is completely overwhelming, and she's become extremely insecure about her role. She may be royalty, but at heart she's just a giant nerd who wants to study history. And her frogs. She only dismisses Link because of her independent spirit, but over time the two grow closer, and Zelda begs Link not to put himself at risk to protect her. But we all know our boy Link doesn't know the meaning of self-preservation.
What you're suggesting is preposterous. I don't know the meaning of the word. It means ridiculous. Really? That's what it means? Thank you. I just learned something.
Yeah, we all know which ship I prefer in this game, but seeing Zelda and Link's relationship bloom in a realistic way is a welcome sight. More so because of how #relatable they made Zelda. Between the insecure nerd and the abrasive pirate captain, these are new sides of the iconic princess that really add some much needed depth to her character. Plus, I like how similar they are in one aspect. Not initially getting along with Link, but making peace with him over time. Really feels like a callback to the olden days of,
Excuse me, princess.
And just like that, I remember why I prefer Mute Link. Halfway through the list and no villains. Let's fix that!
fitting with Twilight Princess's darker turn, we're given an equally dark villain, ZANT. ZANT is everything you could want in a villain. He's conniving, manipulative, and diabolical. Every sentence he utters just drips with poisoned honey. Whenever he's on screen, he's as calm as he is terrifying. But he doesn't get a huge amount of screen time. He nonetheless has a huge impact on the plot. He's the one who depowered MIDNA. He's the one who caused Link to turn into a wolf. He's the one who turned the Twilight into monsters. He has most of the cards from the beginning. Even when you fix things, he just undoes it. Like that. What the hell? That's not how Zelda games work. Then you find out his true colors. Yes, the whole cunning strategist thing is just a facade and he's a complete lunatic underneath. This leads to one of the most insane battles in the entire franchise. And yeah, you could make an argument that it's really dumb. We got a potentially interesting new villain only for him to turn out to be a complete psycho. But ZANT was almost just too fun to hate. Thankfully, Hyrule Warriors managed to improve him. In addition to getting to play as him, his new characterization managed to find a happy medium between hammy and legitimately menacing. Okay, so I haven't been saying a lot of things about Phantom Hourglass this month. I think it's time we change that. After all, for every Temple of the Ocean King, there's one of the series' greatest companions, LINEBECK! LINEBECK, the self-proclaimed greatest treasure hunter, is one of Link's key companions in Phantom Hourglass, as well as the only memorable one, oddly enough. He does his fair share of work by sailing Link across the different islands, all the while pushing Link around to do the difficult stuff. Yeah, needless to say, he's a total pompous pansy. Treats Link like he's his cabin boy and hides away in the face of danger. Honestly, it kinda sucks. But why do we love him? Well, for one, he's still very cooperative. Sure, he only helps Link for his own personal benefits, but what he's gotta do, he still gets the job done. There's also something so amusing about an ally teaming up with you reluctantly. Kinda weird, isn't it? For whatever reason, we Zelda fans like having snobbish, unfriendly companions more than we do nice, chivalrous ones. And a lot of that is because they're not boring. I mean, look at LINEBECK. He's got style, he's hilarious, and it's fun to see his ego knocked over where it counts. Heck, he even gives Ciela something to play off of. Don't get me wrong, Ciela isn't a bad partner by any means, but I doubt she'd be even half as interesting if she isn't chewing LINEBECK, or vice versa. Regardless, LINEBECK being not much of a fighter is fairly consistent, considering he's more of a pacifist treasure hunter who's not really into the pirate's life. He takes pride in just being the guy who sails the ship and walks around, hoping to dig out any treasure he conveniently comes across. It doesn't sit well with his rival/ex Jolene, and she's been hunting him down ever since they parted ways. Yet somehow he thinks it's all about the treasure he stole from her.
Men, we don't know what we did.
Given how dense he is, I'm surprised his ship hasn't sunk earlier.
Like any good companion, LINEBECK isn't without character development. Sure, he only takes part in the adventure for the treasure's sake at first, but over time, he's just as willing to go through thick and thin for Link's sake. Heck, he even mans up at the end and actually saves Link from Bellum. He risked getting himself possessed and becoming the final boss, but it's ultimately worth it as Link manages to save him in return. And after all that's done, he could have easily wished the Ocean King to give him all the treasure he wanted, but instead, he chose a ship, the same one Bellum destroyed in the final battle. In the end, having it back is worth it to him more than any treasure. I think that's really what makes LINEBECK so good. He's a pansy, and he relishes in it, but he takes his passion for adventure seriously. It's hard not to be a sucker for the jerk with the heart of gold trope, and LINEBECK stands out really well in that aspect. So, Zelda villains. We all know Ganondorf, and we mentioned ZANT earlier, so who would be the best Zelda villain? Is it Majora, Vati, Bellum? No, not Bellum. It's Girahim! Say what you want about ZANT, but Girahim feels like the final product from ZANT's rough draft. He's a villain that perfectly combines sophistication, menace, and insanity more beautifully than ZANT ever could. Heck, look when you first meet him. Just in the opening cutscene, he shows you both his power and craziness just from a single teleport and tongue lashing. His fight ended a major trend in the Zelda series by making it a fight that tests your sword skills and your mastery over new controls rather than just using the dungeon item. And ever since, he's been a constant thorn in your side, always getting in your way of finding Zelda or showing up just to taunt you to resurrect some boss that you have to kill. He's a recurring antagonist done right and is easily one of the best parts of the game. His final battle is great too, as like the previous encounters, he's there to test your sword skills. But similar to ZANT, all the elegant and restraint, what little there was, he's shown in your fight up to this point goes out the window, as all he wants to do is kill you and resurrect his master. Which he succeeds in doing. Not the killing part, the resurrecting part. Only for us to find out that he was a sword spirit like Fi, acting as a foil not just to Link, but to your partner in personality. And yes, while Demise is blander than white crackers on white toast, his existence shows that Girahim succeeded, something you can't really say about most villains in games. And I'm glad he returned in Warriors, acting as one of Ganondorf's minions and keeping the same reserved rage that is his personality, even bouncing off ZANT to make him even more impactful. Girahim shows what a real villain should be in Zelda, not just intimidating for the sake of power, but showing personality, cleverness, and intimidation through psychological pain, not just physical.
And we go from Best Zelda Villain to Best Zelda Partner.
I don't think I'm alone in thinking that MIDNA is one of the best partners, period. Everything from her snarky attitude to her backstory to her lovably impish design makes her one of the most interesting partners you've ever had. Being the former Princess of Twilight, she was taken away from her post by ZANT and Ganondorf and turned into a little goblin.
Bitch slap. Did you just bitch slap me? It was a magical bitch slap.
She finds the recently transformed Wolf Link and decides to use him to get the fused shadow and save her realm. Despite initially starting out as a quid pro quo relationship, MIDNA eventually warms up to Link after he and Zelda save her from a mortal wound from ZANT. Unlike most partners, MIDNA actively helps Link in battle, becoming essential in killing the shadow beasts at the same time using her AoE. Her irreverent and ever so slightly sadistic attitude differentiates her from other partners and feels like a breath of fresh air after the myriad of fairies you traveled with over the years. It all comes to a head in the fight with Ganondorf, where she seemingly sacrifices herself to save Link and Zelda, only to appear in her Twilight form right after, and oh mama does she get a glow up. I feel out of all the partners, with maybe the exception of LINEBECK and Fi, she gets the most development throughout the story. While MIDNA never loses the mischievous personality or opportunist mindset that defines her, you can see the turning points where she eventually lets go of her Machiavellianism and bitterness and truly changes to becoming a compassionate and self-sacrificial person. If Girahim and Groose make Skyward Sword worth it, ZANT and MIDNA made Twilight Princess the best it could be. What else can I say? Midna's great. Twilight Princess would be a shadow of itself without her. Was that a pun? I can't tell. Well, I've become numb to puns. Let's just finish this month. Tattle, Majora's Mask. The informal fairy hovered so that Midna could soar. Tingle, Various. When he isn't swindling you, he fights and conquers capitalism. And got laid. King of Red Lions, Wind Waker. Not often we get to team up with the King of Hyrule. No, you two poops don't count. Caffey, Majora's Mask. The side quest is admittedly more interesting than the character himself. Urbosa, Breath of the Wild. We all love a butt-kicking boss lady with a heart of gold. Happy Mask Salesman, Majora's Mask. Gotta love Zelda's plentiful psychotic merchants. At last, we come to the final entry of Zelda Month, the last chapter of our month-long journey through the many terrains of Hyrule, and my personal pick for best supporting character in the entire franchise. So who's worthy of the crown? Someone from the #1 club, of course. Yes, the #1 club, the few who have taken the top of the list more than anyone else. A lot of Countdown creators, myself included, kinda tend to overthink this arraignment, whether it's right to give someone the top spot more than once. Though, really, sometimes the most obvious choice is the best one, so if someone snipes the gold more than once, it's gotta be for a reason. That being said, she dominated my healers and crushes list, so third time's the charm. Yes, I'm down bad and have serious brain rot regarding her. I'm happy. Shut up. Mipha was the princess of the Zora race and one of the champions of Hyrule chosen to protect the land from Calamity Ganon. She's a compassionate, caring soul who's not afraid to go out into battle. She and Link were childhood friends, but Mipha wanted to be something more, and gosh dang it, so Sorry. Anyway, she planned to propose to him but had to put her feelings aside as Link was made Zelda's guard. Zelda and Link grew closer because destiny for those two and all that crap. And yet, Mipha doesn't hold it against Zelda. I mean, of course, she still loves Link and deserves him more. But both princesses are still on good terms. See, I like that. No stupid love triangle drama, just being able to put aside their mutual affection for Link for the greater good. That would have made a nice happy ending.
Except Calamity Ganon shows up and ruins everything, and he runs Mr.
Okay, yeah, if I'm being overdramatic, it's because Mipha deserves better than what she got. Along with being so dang adorable, she's a genuine sweetheart who is more than willing to lay her life on the line for those she cares about. Really bad choice of words, I know. She was the heart of the champions, and yeah, it really feels like there's something missing now that she's dead. Even when she's gone, her compassion for others allows her to heal them thanks to Mipha's grace. Even if she and Link couldn't get there happily ever after, she'll always be there for him in spirit. That amount of selfless devotion topped off with the tragic pathos more than justifies Mipha's place as the best supporting character in the Zelda franchise.
I'm Josh Scorcher, and thank you for bearing with me this Zelda month. I know a lot of my choices were very personal, but I don't know, I'm kind of in a personal mood, you know? I mean, Tears of the Kingdom came out, and it's, freaking dark, which I love. And next time you see me, I'll be going through a journey that's probably just as amazing and harrowing as a journey through Hyrule.
Parenthood.
Hey everyone, this is Josh. If you like this video, please like, subscribe, leave a comment, and share the video around. Please check out my other social media like my Twitter, Twitch, and Tumblr. Check Check out my other channels such as Joshua Burner for reactions and other stuff, Dragon Fighter Gaming for tabletop, and Bob Equestria for cartoons. Consider checking below the video and donating to my Patreon, Streamlabs for my merchandise, or becoming a YouTube member. Thanks for watching.